It's like double tag team today, isn't it? Like, Darren. So, we've both had you on our podcast. So today is just going to be a literally walk in the park for us.
Yeah.
Dale, do you want to hit with the introduction and I'll come in?
Yeah, sure, no problem at all. So, welcome to all of our listeners and viewers to the Value UX podcast. So, probably you've listened to a few other of our episodes. We've interviewed Ricardo, and we're having on a few other guests. But we're super delighted, me and Irish, to have on Darren Hood today. So, Darren will be speaking at the conference, and I'm sure if you've not heard of him, then where have you been all these years? Darren is a veteran in the UX field, so it's a big privilege for us to have him speaking at the conference. So welcome, Darren.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited about the conference. I love the things that Naresh was telling me about, how things are ramping up and people are responding well, especially in the age of conferences and the way conferences normally go these days. I was excited for what you were trying to do and really excited to hear. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think Dale hit the nail on the head. But we are honored, very, very honored that you're one of the guests that's coming on there and one of the speakers. And again, I think it's, as Dale mentioned, if you have not heard you being in this UX field and you've never heard of Darren Hood, where have you been? Because you're a very prominent speaker in that field. Yeah, we are definitely so honored that you're coming on. All thanks goes to you, Darren.
I'm honored to be on. Thank you. Always nice to be understood and appreciated.
Oh, man. Darren, I think, as Dale mentioned, a lot of people are going to be watching a few episodes of some of the speakers that are coming. And what we're trying to do is give the audience just a bit of insight on what you're going to be talking about. You don't have to go too much in depth because we don't want to give away any spoilers to anyone and any of the best bits, but just a high level understanding to the audience. What is your talk going to be about?
Absolutely. And as first, as you know, I was going to talk about, I had one topic and then I was just sitting around talking to some people one day and I said, you know what? I'm going to pivot. And I sent that email, Dale responded. And so I'm going to talk about what I call the power of holistic empathy. That's the title of my talk. And I remember seeing a social media post recently and somebody said, which I addressed them about, as I tend to do from time to time. I do pick my spots carefully, try to.
Yep.
And they said that empathy is our superpower. And I went, not really. Not really. And that's for several reasons. One, I said, heuristics is our superpower. Operationally, what we do to do our work, everything should be grounded. I did a talk years ago called Heuristics, the Holy Grail of UX, because everything we do should start with heuristics, proven principles, best practices, common conventions. It should start there. If we're not starting in something we're grounded in, where in the world are we going and what in the world are we doing? And the reason I addressed the person about how empathy is not our superpower, number one, it's not our superpower because most of the people talking about empathy have absolutely no idea what it is.
Mm-hmm.
How can our superpower be something nobody knows? And people are being educated about empathy the wrong way. They will quickly say it's putting yourself in somebody's shoes. I call that lazy. In an arena where laziness is like, some people think that's their superpower in UX. Laziness is rampant in UX today, which is one of the reasons why a lot of user experiences are so terrible today, because people just want to do something instead of doing the thing. They don't try to find out what the thing is to do. They'll roll out anything, pat themselves on the back. And so they just take any old definition, and empathy is not about putting yourself in somebody's shoes. That is a pretty stereotypical and cookie cutter definition that somebody threw out there, and a lot of people just got on the bandwagon with it. If I say too much, I'll let the cat out the bag.
No.
We are going to properly define. We're going to give people a definition that you can stand on. But it still is not our superpower, but there is a lot of power associated with empathy. We start by defining it the right way, then we see where we can apply it, and we're on our way. So that's what my talk is going to be about in a nutshell.
I can't
Dale,
wait.
do you want to? Yeah, I think we're both excited. Just find the snippet that you just given in there, and I think the audience are going to be really enticed by this. But so, Del.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, so as you've mentioned, like in the field, this, let's say, laziness has become quite prevalent. Why
Yes.
do you think this is the case? Because obviously you've touched on empathy, and this word empathy is thrown around a lot, and you notice in these courses to develop this aspect of your UX process and your another buzzword, design thinking, which is thought about a lot as well. Why do you think this word has been attached or latched onto so much, and now it's just something that people say, oh yeah, I need to have empathy, or you need to have empathy, without actually explaining what that really actually means?
Right. I think it's tied to the old UX gold rush that people saw all the articles. Ooh, you can make how much money? Ooh, and all you have to do is what? And then they equate UX with visual design, and then they think, oh, then somebody started saying two things. They started saying anybody can do it, failing to define what that really means. Oh, you want to be in UX? Sure, you can put the work in, and you can get in the UX. You have a passion for it. That's what anybody can do it means. It doesn't mean that there's nothing to it. This is a science. If you're in UX, you are a scientist. The second thing that people did was they said everybody's a designer. So you take those two extremely dysfunctional mental states, put it together with, man, and you can make how much? And that's what started the UX gold rush, with a bunch of people trying to come into UX, failing to understand what it is, never spending any kind of time trying to understand the history of UX. So they disrespect what it's really about and what its purpose is and what the value proposition of the discipline is. I just want to get into it. So they take anything that comes along, any definition, any concept. And so a lot of concepts, a lot of different frameworks of thinking came along, and then people say, oh, and I could just do what? And so they didn't have to put any work in to get into it. They don't have to put any work in it to do it. So they just embrace any old kind of definition. And so, and that's why, oh, it's what? Oh, okay. So it became a buzzword. It became a cliche, nothing more than a buzzword, just a cliche. And when you're accountable to a cliche, you don't have to do anything.
Mm.
Yeah. You just roll the term out there and everybody go, okay, check the box. He said so-and-so. And that's what they do. So, and that's also akin to UX theater. So people, they say empathy because now I'm playing the part instead of actually empathizing. So that's why it's just, there's no accountability that is implied by embracing the cliche. And that's why people do it. It's another, oh, nothing for me to do. I can be nothing and be a part of this.
Yeah.
Which is why people like me get in trouble, because when you interact with me, I'm reeking of accountability. So I'm always saying something that's going to hold you accountable for something, and people want nothing to do with accountability or anybody who stands for it. They prefer anarchy.
Darren, I'm going to take one stab at a different direction with this. I know we were strapped for time with our show, but I wanted to take the route where, do you think the reason why a lot of designers in this field are not going down that route of, looking into empathy or being empathetic to the users is not solely on designers, but also in the culture of the product and, the business culture? Can you also say that? Okay, cool. So it's
Definitely. Yeah, and I would say that ties into UX maturity, because UX maturity, a lot of people think, and it's, again, UX maturity, if you don't dive into it the right way, it becomes a buzzword. It becomes a cliche instead of an actual thing. And then there's certain people in UX today are saying, we don't need UX maturity. People who've been around for years are saying we don't. No. We got to stop doing things that are to our detriment. So UX maturity is about the practitioner. You think about the old models, it's usually, let me back up. You think about the old models, and it's UX maturity is always about the business and how well business engages with UX.
Yeah.
And as you've seen in the models and the talks I've done on it, it's about far more than that. So it's about the practitioner. I assign UX maturity levels to stakeholders. I assign UX maturity levels to projects. There's organizational UX maturity, there's personal UX maturity, there's product UX maturity, there's stakeholder UX maturity, there's academia UX maturity, there's discipline-wide UX maturity. And so anytime something is lacking, then the concepts that are key, they're not going to be embraced and represented the right way. So it's a UX maturity thing, long story short. It's a UX maturity. And because you don't have UX maturity has to be deliberately managed, but a lot of people, they don't even want to know what empathy is.
Yeah.
They don't even want to, they don't want to do a whole lot of stuff that we really are responsible for doing. So consequently, UX maturity, if not deliberately managed, will manage itself. And that is a losing proposition.
Darren, the reason why I asked you that question, and I think this is one thing that me and Dale has been one of our kind of core values in starting ValueUX, was that we didn't want to make the conference not accessible we wanted it to make it accessible for everyone. So
yes,
there are going to be a lot of people that are coming into everyone's different talks, ranging from different skill sets, all the way from beginner all the way to director, and probably even beyond. Now, what would you say is your target audience for your talk, like roughly in and around their kind of like career level? What would you say it falls into?
For my talk, as with, I think, and I'm doing a quick scan, I would say everybody.
Okay.
It's new UXers. A lot of new UXers are not learning the right things.
Mm-hmm.
So when you learn the wrong thing, that's like erecting a building and putting flawed materials in the foundation. And then 3 years later, you find out there's flawed materials in the foundation. Well, what are you going to do? Because now you found out that your building, if you keep going the way you're going, your building, using this metaphor, your building's going to crumple. It's going to collapse if you keep going the same direction and embracing the same thing. So that's why I always tell people, the earlier you learn the right things, the better off you are in the long run. Otherwise, you have to go back and you have to excavate. you have to go do some demolition work to get things together. And the longer that building stands and the higher it goes with all those flawed elements, you have problems. So the newer people need to get it. A lot of people who are, say, directors, frankly, today in today's UX landscape, a lot of the people that run UX operations never worked in the trenches. So truth be told, they're entry-level UX people. They might be the boss, but and a lot of people are going to hate this, but truth be told, a lot of people that are running UX departments when it comes to doing the work are entry-level UXers.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise!
Yeah, you're talking to a design ops person here, and a person who has seen a lot of people who've kind of come into the operations who don't even know anything about UX. And we can have another discussion about that completely. So
full range. Full range. It touches everybody, maybe some more than others. And then we get into the middle part of the talk, and then it shifts. But everybody from entry level to even people who've been around for a while. I talk to people who've been doing this for a long time, and I'll say things and their eyebrows will go up. So I say, it will impact everybody.
We're hoping so. We're hoping that you do raise some eyebrows. So
I hope.
I actually wanted to ask you as well, Darren. Naresh has already kind of touched on it in terms of your target audience, but if there's, obviously we've all got short-term memory loss. So if there's one thing that you would like any of the audience or attendees there, something that they can take away and apply immediately in their career, what would you like that to be for your attendees?
Thinking about my talk specifically, I understand that practicality is key with everything. And through my talk and what people are going to walk away with, the takeaway from my talk, they're going to understand where they need to go back and tweak to adjust. I'll back up a little bit. I like getting into a little etymology, and we often hear people say that nobody is perfect. And I found out that one of the Greek words that's translated perfect in the English language, it doesn't mean to be flawless. It means to adjust. So, see, there we go. So, so if we hear something, people are going to hear my talk, realize how they've been approaching and thinking about empathy, and they're going to make an adjustment. And they're going to understand if I take this on, it's going to vault my practice, my engagement in the discipline that much further, that much better, and that much more impactful.
I love it. I love it.
Perfection is achievable. Depends on how you define it.
It's yeah. I mean, it's as you mentioned. It's as you define it, isn't it? And I think you make a good point that you want people to come out of this talk with some form of practical advice that they can use. I was just wondering, would the audience who do take some of your learnings and try to apply it, could they also come back to you with advice to say, hey, I tried something, I didn't work, and would it be possible that they do reach out to you and also like get some kind of counseling from you?
I'd say number one, anybody can reach out to me anytime. People always do. I will say that nobody has ever heard me say anything, applied what I said the way that I instructed them to apply it, and came back and said it didn't work. I have a rule. If you don't know, don't say. So I know that something is tried, true, and is completely 100%, 1000% practical. And so I won't, if it didn't work, I wouldn't say it. I respect people too much to say something that is a flash in the pan or a possibility as opposed to something that's definite. So if I say something, I know that it works. Yeah. So if it didn't work, you didn't do what I said. Don't put the shoe in the wrong foot and then come back to me and tell me it didn't work. You put the shoe on the wrong foot. Let's go back and deconstruct that thing. And that's why when you get into my talks about EQ, self-awareness, job one, I did something the other day. I set up a new burglar alarm system in a brand new house, and I didn't follow the instructions. So no sense of me getting angry at the vendor. I'm the one.
Yeah.
I'm the one. So that's what it boils down to. And I missed a step. And when I found that step, it worked well. I wonder why.
But I like that point you mentioned, Darren. The point where you mentioned that you respect the people that you're talking to so much that you don't want to give them something that's going to be flawed or something that's going to affect them later on down the line.
And people don't know that because people are so used to talking to people that are in it for themselves. And that, I tell people all the time, the stuff, I'm loud when it comes to, people don't realize I'm actually shy and don't talk very much. I don't. But everything that I'm fighting for, I'm not going to reap it. So everything I'm fighting for, I'm not going to partake of the things that I'm fighting for. If everything I'm talking about straightens out and we get back on the right ship and UX is returned to its former glory that a lot of these new people want nothing to do with because they don't know what it is. They just want to check. And they don't know if they keep going the way they're going, UX is going to disappear. So I'm fighting for things I'm not going to, that should, if anybody, the more emotionally intelligent people understand that what I'm fighting for, it's not about Darren Hood. It's about UX. It's always about UX. I'm a steward of the discipline. I'm not a steward of Darren Hood. I'm a steward of the discipline. So I want UX to be well. I want UX to be understood. I want UX professionals to prosper. I want people to succeed. It's not about me at all. And because I'm going to be retired and gone and looking back and saying, wow, they made it, or wow, I remember when. But it depends upon what the occupants do.
Yeah. But it's a hard one, isn't it? I've had this conversation with many people who've come on the shows that at the moment there is nobody kind of like governing the practices in general. And well, wait, my 2 seconds. My two said before, it's like when you go to learn how to drive a car, the people that teach you have to follow a certain instructions, and me and you have spoken about this. The people that are teaching in boot camps are not being governed. Are you teaching the right things and stuff like that? So it's a hard one to make sure everyone does things in the right way. And I guess with design, it is that kind of messy kind of ground on getting to the finished product in a way that still, follows the methodologies correctly. Do you know what I
Yep.
mean? And I think, it's great that you're advocating for this, because this is why, we wanted you to come onto ValueUX, because I think you're very kind of like passionate about the fundamentals, that people should know the fundamentals. And I guess, it's as mentioned, you can use the fundamentals to your best as you can, even your career and stuff like that. But if you don't even have those fundamental groundings or that basic understanding of fundamentals, it's, again, as you mentioned, the building's going to collapse and people's
Yep.
careers are going to collapse. And I
Yep.
think this is what why we're so honored in having you on the show, is because you do represent those fundamentals.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. Definitely.
Darren, I'm going to ask you one last question before we wrap up. So after your talk, are you going to be floating around the conference so that people can reach up to you or come up to you and start speaking to you?
Yeah, I mean, and I love the fact that it's virtual. I do something similar in my Kaizen UX rendezvous. Everybody comes to tables and you can go out and do things. So I'll do the same thing I always do, and I make myself available, and people can come up and ask me whatever or start a conversation about whatever, and then this shy person opens up, and then when everybody's done pulling on me, then I shut down. And so, yeah, I'll definitely be there. I look forward to things like that. And I know, based on what this conference is about and what it's like, I pretty much know the types of personas who will attend. So, I do encourage people, because a lot of people, and people have told me, man, I was afraid to ask you something. Oh, I didn't want to approach you. Oh, my goodness. And then when they talk to me, they go, wow, I thought that was going to be something completely different. And I thought you were going to be like this and like that. I'm like this all the time. What you see right now is what you get. I don't have an on-screen persona and then an off-screen persona. What you see is what you get. If you have a question, whether it's LinkedIn, the conference, whatever, reach out. People do all the time. Just be genuine is all I ask. Don't send me don't come to me with some AI generated mumbo jumbo. Smell it. And I do hold you accountable. I hold everybody accountable. I hold myself accountable, for being genuine. And so that's all I ask. Just be genuine. Um, don't be afraid to say, Darren, I agree with 99% of what you say. And somebody said this to me recently. I said, I guarantee you, if you believe 99% or agree with 99% of what I say, it's highly likely you agree with 100%. What do you mean by that? Because everything I say in pockets. So whatever the topic is, there's something about it you haven't heard me say yet. I time box everything I say, which is a bad habit. I was on the radio in Detroit for 8 years. I'm used to saying things within a time box. So I tend to time box everything that I say. It's a habit. I edit myself while I'm talking. I've learned how to do that from having been on the radio. And I mean, I'm talking to you, but in the back of my mind, I'm editing and I'm dissecting and doing things like that. So you haven't heard me. If you think we disagree on something, let's talk about it. And you know what? We don't have to agree 100% about everything anyway. So that's the flip side of that. We don't have to. I heard somebody say something. Well, you know what? Fine. That's another great perspective. You're looking at the east side of the house. I'm looking at the west side of the house, but we're still looking at the house. As long as it's the house and we understand the purpose of the house, we're good. We can vary about certain perspectives. So I don't want people, I'm saying all that to say this. Don't be afraid. It is not my way or the highway. It isn't. Now, there are some things that I say that are absolutes. I do believe, you hear me talk about the 4 pillars of UX. I do strongly believe in the 4 pillars of UX. And you talk about the fundamentals. You mentioned that, Naresh, earlier. Yeah, absolutely. It's usability and heuristics. That's one. Information architecture, UX research, of which there's up to 125 methods, methodologies, techniques, and things of that nature. So there's a lot. And then there's interaction and interface design, which I group together. There is no UX is not UI, and it doesn't stand on its own, because if you do UI, but you don't incorporate interaction design principles, your UI is going to crash and burn anyway. So it's interesting how things work. So to me, those are absolutes. Those are the 4 pillars of UX. Somebody might say, well, you know what? I think there's a 5th. You know what? And you see my illustration. There's 250 things on that.
Yeah.
On that illustration somewhere, I just said these are pillars. Now, that's a philosophical mindset that I have about that. Somebody may vary a little bit, but does it drive us forward? I'm not going to disrespect anybody unless they've done something worthy of disrespect.
Yep, exactly.
People should be encouraged. Don't be afraid of me. Darren, you're intimidating. Why? Because I'm passionate. I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
So I'm not a big guy. You're a big guy. I'm a little fella. I'm 5'9" inches tall. I'm not that big. I'm a thick guy. I used to play football. I used to lift weights. But other than that, but I am passionate. And I wish more people were passionate. For some people, passion is a crime. Some people, when they see, I'm mostly I'm not 100% African American.
Okay.
And I'm part Sioux and I'm part Cherokee.
Okay.
And so, but people, when they see a Black person, a person of African American descent, and we're passionate, then they think we're angry. No, it's called passion. It's passion.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you're passionate, and some people are upset because you're passionate, and we're where we are because people neglected to show passion.
Yeah. No,
at one time.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. You hit the nail on the head with that one. Everyone, if you've resonated with anything we've talked about just now, please drop your comments down below. As mentioned, Darren is, we're going to put links to Darren's website throughout the whole conference in places. We're also going to put a link to his UX, is not UI t-shirts. We're still me and Dale are still waiting on these t-shirts. So just to let you know, we did ask him to send it over to Europe, but there seems to be an issue with shipping.
You can buy in Europe now.
Oh, okay. Yes. So now we can buy. Okay. Yes. Now we're gonna...
somebody from Austria was the first person.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, you can get the merchandise over in Europe now.
Nice. Well, we'll definitely put the links to the website, to your conference, to your podcast, all in the conference. Everyone can access it, and we'll also put all the links in the descriptions below. But please drop your comments down below. Anything that Darren's spoken about has resonated with you. El's back on with his camera now. I can finally see him. So.
No idea what happened. You can tell this is authentic.
Yeah, that's how you know it's technical glitches. I love this, and this is what you're going to get from ValueUX. I think one thing that me and Dale really stand for is we're being genuine with our conference. We're bringing in real speakers like Darren. We're going to have technical glitches. We're not experts in that field, but what we are great at, and I think this is what me and Dale are very great at, we are good at bringing great people together. Darren is one of 28 speakers that we've got planned for this conference. Even Darren was like, oh wow,
right, good.
It's going to be a good time, and it's going to be a brilliant conference. So Dale.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just echo that. Really looking forward to your talk, Darren. I'll be in attendance for sure. Yours will be one that I want to definitely listen to. And I hope as well, just for our listeners as well, that he's given them an insight as to what to expect, and they can already start kind of mentally preparing for what aspects they'll be able to take away and apply to their careers. And as Nari said before, looking forward to bringing together all these great minds and great people, and just having a festival of genuine UX troops.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm
brilliant.
Excited.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
We'll see you. We'll see you next time at the conference. So
thank you.
Have a good one.